GR Turbo 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Guys, we're back with the My Team Career mode here on F1 2020, and it's time for the next round at Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. And guys, you guys know I'm caught in between two when it comes to the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a spectacular racing facility, a very good driver's track, but it's still not not one of my favorites. So I never know if I'm gonna run good around the Barcelona or whether I'm gonna run absolute, hiney. So we need to see what's going to happen this weekend. But if you like my enthusiasm and you like the video so far, please drop a like down below on the video. It's only going to take you 2 nifty seconds, and it helps me out a massive amount. Guys, the tire allocation for this weekend, I was tempted to go softer, but then I remembered the tire wear around Spain is absolutely crazy. So we are going to go with the balanced tire allocation, a nice amount of softs, a reasonable set of mediums, but enough hards to get us through the weekend. We're also going to upgrade our resource point generation of the durability part of the HQ. So you guys can see there, we've got our first upgrade on the durability part of the facilities, and slowly but surely we are getting the team into a better position for the future. Now guys, please follow me on social media, share this video with your very cool friends, tag me in the post or the story, and I will give you a shout out in a future video, and also on social media. And I mean, come on, who doesn't like that? You guys can see, heading in towards this weekend, qualifying is going to be a wet one, but the race itself is going to be bone dry. So once again, qualifying is going to be stupidly hard, and I'm gonna have to pull something out from my rear. But now we head towards the performance chart. Mercedes are leading the way from Ferrari in P2, Red Bull P3, Racing Point P4, Renault are in P5, hand in hand with McLaren in P6. Then you've got Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri, ourselves, and Haas fighting for those next few positions, all the way from P10 to P7. It's absolutely nuts. You guys can see our season is really going well so far. And then finally, in 11th place, we've still got Williams Racing. Now guys, heading into towards this episode, like I said, I'm always caught in two when it comes to the Spanish Grand Prix, but I was really looking forward to this Grand Prix because remember, Codemasters basically they gave a lot of attention towards this track after the real life F1 drivers played F1 2019, and they gave a few stuff that Codemasters could do to better some of the tracks, and this track is now a lot more realistic. So I really quickly got excited for this track. But guys, when I got to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, it was clear as daylight. This track does not suit our car, and I struggled so much with my setup, and I made so many mistakes in practice, as you guys are busy seeing on your screen. It was actually a little bit sad. And after practice, I was not in a good space when it came to this weekend, because there was just no consistency whatsoever, and I had to, if I pushed, I made mistakes. If I didn't push, I was so slow, nothing could get me, further up the timing sheets. So this is going to be a massively tough weekend for us. We've even got engine problems to deal with. We're almost through our first engine, and it's just really gonna be a tough weekend. So please drop a like to send a prayer my way. But without further ado, let's head straight to the Spanish GP's qualifying. Guys, jumping straight into Q1, you guys can see the beginning of the session was very wet. I waited till the end of the session because it was gonna just start to slowly grind over to intermediate conditions. I came out just as it started going to intermediate conditions, and I started doing laps, but I didn't go out in qualifying at any time before this. So I needed to get used to the conditions. So I put in a few extra laps of fuel, and I went around a few times. We come across the line for the end of our second lap. We go P13, 2.5 tenths out of the top 10. But at this stage, we are safe for Q2. we come to the end of our third lap, and you can see once again we are quicker by almost a second, but now the other drivers are starting to come out of the pit lane to go for their final runs in Q1 on the intermediate tires. We come across the line, we go P7 in between the two Red Bulls of Verstappen and Albon, and as you guys can see, as we start our final lap here in qualifying, Antonio Giovinazzi has decided, no, he's going to give us a little bit of a hard time. Also, I struggled for the right side of the car's tires to heat up. That was also a problem. There was just, guys, this weekend was really not going the way of it turbo boosted racing, and we were just not where we wanted to be. As we come around this final part of qualifying, I was confident that we would get into Q2, so I wasn't too stressed out, but I had to better my time just once again. Don't look at the delta in the top left. That is wrong, but we are going to better our time, and we are going to go into P... Wait a second. Don't do this to me. Don't. What? P22? Last place on the grid? Oh, great. That's just wonderful. You know, that is just absolutely frickin' spectacular. Okay, guys, what else is there to do? Let's just go take those engine penalties. Let's get a new engine in the car. It's going to help us out later on in the season. We're in any case starting last. So what else to do when you're starting in last place than take a 65 place grid penalty? You know, it's wonderful. I'm going to get a completely new engine, as well as I'm going to throw in a brand new gearbox, because there's no point, guys. We have the perfect opportunity to do it now. So why not? Oh boy, this is gonna be a stupidly hard race. But guys, without further ado, let's head straight to the Spanish Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix. A race which saw Max Verstappen win on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016. This after the dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg on the first lap. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. And with me, as usual, is Anthony Davidson. Now, we probably ought to start by discussing Sebastian Vettel. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and Albon, Ricciardo, Norris, Stroll, and Esteban Ocon, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Daniel Kvyat, and Grosjean, Raikkonen, Sainz, Kevin Magnussen, and George Russell, Perez, Aitken, Latifi, and Parker. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Jeff, that is the idea, but that is not going to be the easiest task this weekend. Guys, there's nothing else to do except go for a very, very easy one stop. But guys, because we're literally in last place, I'm going to gamble once again. We're starting on the hard tires, and then we will go to the mediums to have a little bit more pace at the end of the race. So without further ado, you guys know the drill. Jam with me on the formation lap.
Ripples fade away. Human hearts aren't so lucky. Those battle scars remain. Oh, I can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes of your ghost. Can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes of your ghost. La 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 la.
Guys, are you guys ready for the Spanish Grand Prix from last place on the grid? We head to 5 red lights and it's go, go, go for the Spanish Grand Prix. You guys can see, thanks to a wet qualifying, everybody is doing the one-stop from mediums onto soft, from mediums onto hards, except ourselves. And as you guys see, into the first quarter, it's 3 wide between the two Mercedes, and Sebastian Vettel, who was the third contender in that 3-1 moment, schools the two Mercedes boys and gets up into P1. Bottas is still in P2, but even Leclerc got ahead of Lewis Hamilton. What a fantastic start from the two Ferraris, and they have now given Mercedes a race they're gonna have to fight for. And they also can't forget about those two Red Bulls in P5 and P6. Verstappen and Albon are always hungry and always wanting to steal podiums and victories away from the two main blokes in Formula 1 and in this day and age. You guys can see, actually on the hards, being the least grippy tire, I still get a fantastic launch off the line. I go to the outside because there was just too many cars on the inside. And as you can see, oh, there's front wing parts flying everywhere. Somebody made some hefty contact through this first part. You guys can see, oh, there's another piece of front wing flying. I'm side by side with my teammate as we head through this very fast right-hander. Nearly flat out in qualifying going through there. We are later to the break, side by side with our teammate Jack Aitken. Behind the Haas of, I think that is Kevin Magnussen, who is going side by side with George Russell in the Williams. We're all very late onto the brakes, heading into this next left-handed hairpin. We make a double overtake there on the Haas and the Williams. We shove them out wide to dry, and now we are within striking distance of the second Haas and the Alfa Romeo. You guys can see her heading into this very quick right-hander onto the back straight. No DRS just yet, but guys, I think the McLaren there in front of us is the one with the front wing damage. We go up the inside of not just the Alfa but the Haas as well. 2 double overtakes on the first lap. That is how we do it here in Spain. And as you guys can see, we are right behind the McLaren of Carlos Sainz now. And guys, you guys can see that his front wing is damaged. He is one of the 2 cars that had a little bit of an iffy moment on the first lap, and Carlos Sainz is going to dive into the pit lane at the end of the first lap to replace his front wing. And we have had a very, very, very successful first lap here at Spain. The question is, can we catch up to the cars ahead of us and try and eke some points out here in Spain? It's not going to be as easy as it was the previous few Grand Prix. We have been driving very good recently, but we've also had a little bit of luck on our sides. You guys can't deny that. So here we go, Sainz into the pit lane, new front wing, and he is officially out of contention for points in this race unless there is a safety car. You guys can see a few laps later on, I have caught up to the rear of Antonio Giovinazzi, only because I got to learn he was the second car with front wing damage. You guys remember at the beginning of the Grand Prix, we saw through the first 3 corners, we saw 2 pieces of front wing flying, and the second car who had a front wing flying through the sky was Mr. Giovinazzi. And guys, besides that, nothing much happened after that, I'm not gonna lie. So here comes Sebastian Vettel, the race leader, coming into the pit lane. And there we go, you guys can see everybody has got to do the mediums onto hards. That's the only thing that I don't like about a wet qualifying, guys. And it's the same with real life Formula 1. It's just when it rains in qualifying, it completely ruins the race strategies for the race, because everybody just goes for the safe strategy to keep the stress levels of the race to the bare minimum. So you guys, I wouldn't even mind if there can be like a wet Q1, a dry Q2, and say an intermediate conditions Q1. Q2 is dry, and as soon as Q2 is like with 2 minutes left, it just pours down with cats and with like buckets, and Q3 is a fully wet session. I won't even mind that. But just to make sure that the 10 people that go through to Q3 start on the softest compound to make the race that little bit more interesting would be a lot better. Because I need to say because twice, so please bear with me. No, I don't have to. Guys, my English is terrible, just forgive me today. Sorry. Okay, the problem is, because there was no tire being specified at the end of Q2, everybody is going from mediums onto hards. So there's not really a lot of fighting through the field. You guys are quickly seeing there Carlos Sainz overtaking one of the racing points, but there was so little happening in this Grand Prix, there wasn't really much to show. You guys can see how many laps I've done already. It's already time for my pit stop, and we're only only 16 minutes into the video. You guys know me. My videos don't really go this quickly. Usually now we are only on like lap 3, maybe 4. But it's not that this is out of my control, guys. I wish this was a more exciting episode. We're going to have a little bit of excitement now because now I'm going to go on the charge on a set of medium tires where everybody else is on hards. And
last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Guys, we were in a world of our own in P13. There was nobody near to us behind. You guys can see it's freaking 30 seconds to Raikkonen. Obviously, I think it's going to get a little bit better. And ahead of us, Gasly is 8 seconds up the road, or Kvyat, to whoever. Ooh! Guys, Bottas is being held up massively by my teammate there. Jack, get out of the way. You're going to get a penalty. Get out of the way, Aitken. And guys, that has just given Vettel an absolutely massive lead now over Bottas. So we might have some excitement at the end of this Grand Prix in any case. Because these guys lapping the slower cars, it's always a problem, especially at a track like this where overtaking is already a significant challenge. So, let's see what happens here. Here comes Vettel. He is now right behind. I think that's a wheelie. That's a Haas of Roman. That's the Haas of Roman Grosjean. Vettel is now held up by Grosjean as well as Bottas. But that is not good news. I think the stewards are going to be very busy at the end of this race with penalties. Bottas goes for a move around the outside of Vettel. Vettel sticks his car there on the inside, but not for too long. Vettel just keeps the Ferrari ahead of the Mercedes. And that was luck for Vettel. That was keeping the lead by the skin of his teeth. And I'm sure Vettel is going to be on the radio. Gotta be like, hey guys, get these back markers out of my way. For Pete's sake, we cannot afford this. We nearly lost the race there. And as you guys can see here now, here comes Bottas. He's still close to Vettel. And will he try a move heading into the first corner? Let's see. Bottas is not going to be close enough, unfortunately. And Vettel keeps the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. And guys, as we jump onto the final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, you guys can see Vettel is still ahead, but only by the skin of his teeth once again. Because of that whole thing where Vettel was held up by Grosjean, Bottas was just keeping Vettel honest the entire time. But in this story mode, the 5-time world champion, Sebastian Vettel, is going to hold on to take the win of the Spanish Grand Prix. Bottas is going to come home in P2 for Mercedes. In P3, it's going to be Lewis Hamilton, just holding on from Max Verstappen in P4, who gave Hamilton the same amount of trouble that Bottas gave Vettel. Well done to Hamilton. And guys, even though I tried to go on a charge on my medium tires, those two Alpha Tauris are stupidly quick and consistent. I was catching them lap by lap, but not nearly quick enough. This was a very, very, very harsh fall back to reality that this is not a midfield car yet. It's not actually close to a midfield car. It is still a back marker, and weekends like this gives you a little bit of a wake-up call. So even though it has not been as action-packed or as I want to say exciting as the previous episodes where we even got a podium in China, it's still a solid drive. You guys heard in the beginning of the season, I said if it's a bad race, I still want to finish above P15. And P12, it's not a bad day in the office. P12 here in Spain!
Another Spanish Grand Prix is over, and what a special race it was. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Sebastian Vettel now leads the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Parker. They pushed and pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was just a pleasure to watch.
Let's move on to the Constructors. The current championship leaders still hold top spot, but that gap is getting smaller. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today, as they make their way up the standings. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
The fans really seemed to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? You're surpassing all expectations. Can anything or anyone stop you? Appreciate your time.
Guys, what a Spanish Grand Prix. A very, when it comes to action, a little bit of a lackluster race thanks to the rain in qualifying. But guys, it can't always be freaking moonshine and roses. Sometimes you have to have Grand Prix like this. And I mean, this Grand Prix was needed, especially for our team. It was a harsh, freaking knuckle sandwich in the face to head us back to reality. We got all our contract goals done. We get $431,000 in the bank. So it hasn't been a bad weekend. We have just recently got so used to scoring points that this felt like a little bit of a kick in the teeth, even though it wasn't. So at now, we have to actually renew our 2 sponsors. Guys, I wanted to like renew them, but then I was just like, nah, we need some new sponsors on the car. We need some sponsors with higher payouts when it comes to the goals. So the first sponsor I actually looked at, all of these sponsors were quite nice, but I went with Atlantic. It's a very nice logo, and as a team complete a total of 75 laps during the race weekend, it's not too hard to do. It's a kind of easy money, and at this stage of our My Team career, that's what we need. And also, I went with Avolo because the only objective is to beat your rival during the race weekend, and that is what you want to do in any case. So that's a contract that's going to keep us on our toes. So that is why I took the second contract, and we are nearing the part of the season where we are nearly at level 10 acclaim, so we will be able to sign a fourth sponsor to the car. We've got our main sponsor, which is Shark, and now our 2 extra sponsors with Atlantic and Avolo, or Avolo, whatever you want to call them. If you guys want to correct me in the comments on my pronunciation, you're more than welcome to. I know if my girlfriend is going to watch this video, she's got to correct me in any case on the pronunciation, but you know what, I still love her. The South African way of pronouncing things is not always the right way, but in any case, you guys can see I shuffled the sponsors a bit around on the car, just to make it look a little bit more nice. The rear was looking a little bit empty to me, so I ditched the Atlantic, the 2 rear Atlantic sponsors, and I swapped it out a bit. You guys are gonna, because the video is so short, well, the race was so short, you guys can see how I customized the car. But guys, back to this, to the moral of the story. Heading in towards the next weekend, when we head to Monaco, the most prestigious Grand Prix on the Formula 1 calendar, a track that I wouldn't say I love, but I also don't despise anymore. It's a track I've got a lot of respect for, and if I have a good race around there, I always enjoy it. So heading towards Monaco, we really have to dig down deep, because we realize now that this car is still, I would say we're the leading back market team. We are on the verge of going towards a midfield team. During the race, when I said that we are far away from the midfield, I was over exaggerating a bit. We are not far away from the midfield, but when we have a very mediocre weekend like we did with this weekend, where we had so much bad luck in qualifying, we are going to fight with the back markers. That's why qualifying for us is so darn important. We need to make sure we get our car at least into Q2. Q3, I realized, that was just me driving the wheels off the car. But Q2 for us is a must. The more we get into Q2, the closer we can get to that 9th, 10th place for points. And also, we will just be a little bit more, a little bit more confident in ourselves and in our car. In our car. You guys have heard in the beginning of some races, Crofty even says, is it Crofty or is it Anthony Davidson? I can't remember. I think it's Crofty. But he says, you carry your momentum from the previous practice and qualifying sessions into the race. And that is so true. If you have a good qualifying, you've got so much more confidence in the race. So qualifying for us this season is super, super important. And I'm going to have to focus on myself a lot more, because you guys know from past experience, I am not the best qualifier. But away from the sad, it was still a very good weekend. Guys, if you get your contract goals, if you achieve your contract goals, it's a good weekend no matter how you look at it. So guys, that has been this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Next race, I'm sure, is going to be more action-packed, even though we are heading towards Monaco. Guys, oh, what a race. Please drop a like down below on the video. A harsh hit to reality, but I'm sure that reality sucker punch, well, no, reality knuckle sandwich has earned your like. I'll find any reason for you guys to hit the like. Please drop a like down below on the video. It's only going to take you 2 seconds, and it helps me out a massive amount. Also, follow me on social media. Share this video with your friends. Tag me in the post or the story, and I will give you a shout out on social media as well as on a future video here on YouTube. And finally, guys, if you haven't done it yet, what the frick are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below. Don't forget to ding that bell to never ever miss a future episode here on Turbo Fox Races. You guys are an amazing audience, even though you guys are still small. I love making videos for you guys. It's been a mediocre but successful Spanish Grand Prix. I'll see y'all next time when we head to Monaco. Cheers!